Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a concept that I find absolutely fascinating: the true source of inner peace. We spend so much of our time and energy trying to micromanage the world around us. We're constantly trying to orchestrate other people's behaviors, what they say, what they do. And honestly, it's an exhausting way to live. It's like you're constantly playing the director of everyone else's life just so you can feel somewhat comfortable in your own. But as we're going to see today, trying to change other people is basically a losing battle. It completely drains your mental bandwidth, leaves you feeling super frustrated, and at the end of the day, it doesn't even change anything. The material we're unpacking today flips that entirely on its head and shows us how to actually master our own reactions, freeing up all that wasted energy.
So I want you to honestly think about something for a second. Who really controls your emotions? When someone else's careless words or actions upset you, what's actually happening in that exact moment? Well, according to our source material, when we get overly affected by what other people do, we are literally handing them the control over our emotional state. It is exactly like handing someone else the remote control to your own feelings. You're letting their random actions dictate your internal weather. One negative comment from them, and boom, your entire day is ruined. They push a button, and you react. Realizing that you're actively participating in this dynamic is the absolute first step to taking that immense power back.
All right, let's jump into section 1: the cost of anger and the question of who you are really hurting. Look, it's completely natural to feel anger when you've been wronged. We're human, right? Feeling hurt is a standard reaction, but we have this massive misconception about what our anger is actually doing. When we direct hatred or resentment towards someone, we subconsciously think it's punishing them. We kind of think our intense anger somehow hurts them or teaches them a lesson. But the reality presented in our source is totally different. These negative emotions don't harm the person we direct them toward anywhere near as much as they actively harm us. We are essentially drinking poison every single day and somehow expecting the other person to be the one who suffers. And this poison has real-world consequences. Hatred and resentment actively steal from your daily life in ways we rarely stop to actually measure. First off, they rob you of your baseline happiness. It's virtually impossible to be joyful while you're harboring malice. Second, they literally wreck your sleep. Think about it. How many times have you laid awake tossing and turning over what someone else did, while they are probably sleeping like a baby? Third, it clouds your judgment, making it so hard to think clearly or rationally about the problems right in front of you. And ultimately, these feelings completely strip you of your inner freedom. By holding on to hatred, you're just locking yourself in a mental prison, meaning the only person truly being punished is you.
Moving right along to Section 2, reclaiming your emotional control and the paradigm shift.
Here's the core philosophy of this whole shift. True peace is not created by changing other people. Self-awareness is actually the first step toward emotional freedom. Taking back control doesn't start with pointing your finger outward at what everyone else is doing wrong. It starts with looking inward. For years, you might have told yourself, man, if only my coworker or my partner or my friend would just change, then I could finally relax. But true emotional freedom requires recognizing that you are the one giving your power away. Only when you bring that awareness inward can you finally start to reel your power back in and build a solid foundation for your own peace of mind. Okay, so how do we actually do this in the real world? The source breaks this down into a super practical 3-step toolkit designed for the exact moment you get triggered. Step 1, pause. Just stop the immediate reaction. Fight the urge to lash out, send that angry text, or snap back. In that tiny little pause, you instantly reclaim your agency. Step 2, look within. Take your attention completely off the other person and shine that spotlight right back onto yourself. Notice the physical sensation of the anger rising in your body. And step 3, ask why. Genuinely ask yourself why their behavior has disturbed you so deeply. What specific insecurity or fear or past hurt is it triggering inside of you? This simple 3-step process is how you actively practice the self-awareness that leads to lasting emotional freedom. That brings us to Section 3, redefining forgiveness and strength and dismantling the weakness myth. We hear this myth all the time in modern society, right? That offering forgiveness or showing compassion makes you a pushover, that it's a glaring sign of weakness. But honestly, the reality is the exact opposite. Choosing love, compassion, and forgiveness are actually signs of immense inner strength. Think about it. It is incredibly easy to be angry. Reacting with rage is a primitive, knee-jerk instinct that requires zero discipline. But it takes true, unyielding fortitude to choose compassion when you have been legitimately wronged. To stand right in the face of unfairness and actively choose not to match that negative frequency, that takes immense willpower. Choosing forgiveness isn't rolling over. It is literally the ultimate flex of inner strength. Which brings us to a really critical redefinition. Forgiving someone absolutely does not mean that you're approving of their bad actions. It doesn't mean what they did was okay, and it for sure doesn't mean you have to invite their toxic behavior back into your life. Forgiving others simply means you are refusing to let bitterness rule your life. You are making a conscious, empowered decision that your own inner peace is vastly more valuable to you than carrying around a heavy, exhausting backpack of resentment. You're setting that weight down, not because the person who wronged you deserves it, but because you deserve to move forward. And right alongside forgiveness sits compassion. Compassion allows us to understand a really fundamental truth about human nature. Every single person acts according to their own level of awareness, their own past experiences, and their own hidden struggles. People are messy, they're deeply flawed. When someone acts poorly toward you, it's almost always just a reflection of their own personal battles and limitations. It's rarely a true reflection of you. Once you really understand this, it becomes so much easier to just pause, let go of the offense, and ruthlessly protect your own peace. You simply stop taking their internal chaos personally. And finally, Section 4, the path to inner peace and the payoff of transformation. So, what is the actual payoff here? What happens when we actually put this into practice and master our reactions instead of trying to control everyone else? Well, real, sustainable happiness. That's the payoff. The more you cultivate kindness and patience in your daily interactions, the lighter your heart physically feels. A peaceful mind directly leads to better, deeper relationships because you're not constantly reacting from a place of defense. It leads to wiser decisions because your judgment isn't clouded by a thick fog of rage. It leads to much deeper sleep because your brain isn't obsessing over a laundry list of resentments. Ultimately, mastering your reactions paves the way for a profoundly more meaningful and intentional life. I want to read a passage directly from the source material for you because it just brings this entire paradigm shift together beautifully. Quote, "The world may not always be kind to you, but you can always choose to be kind within yourself. Inner peace begins the moment you stop expecting others to change and start transforming your own perspective." Wow, that is the absolute essence of what we've been unpacking today. You can't control the world. You can't control what people say, and you can't control what they do. But you absolutely can and must control your internal weather. So I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Are you going to keep waiting for the world and everyone in it to magically change to suit your preferences? Or are you going to take your power back today and start proactively transforming your own perspective? The choice and the remote control to your emotions is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you on your own path to true inner peace.